As the 2025 NFL season approaches, all eyes are once again on the Philadelphia Eagles. After an incredible run that ended with a dominant Super Bowl victory, the Eagles aren't just aiming to defend their title, they're trying to build a legacy. A dynasty, a team that future generations will talk about like they do the greats. And at the heart of that mission is a defense that has the potential to be even scarier than last year's. Now here's the wild part. This Eagles defense, as hyped as it is stepping into the new season after losing over 4,000 defensive snaps from the previous year. We're talking players who walked in free agency, guys who were traded, some who retired, and others who simply weren't brought back. That kind of turnover would tank most defenses. But not this one. That's because what remains in Philly is a scary combination of young talent, elite coaching, and a front office that just keeps hitting on their picks. Last season was legendary for the Eagles in so many ways. You had Saquon Barkley running like a man possessed, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith doing what they do, making defensive backs look silly. The offensive line absolutely mauling opponents, arguably the best unit in football. And of course Jalen Hurts putting on a show all the way through the playoffs, ultimately walking away with the Super Bowl MVP. That win gave the Eagles their second Lombardi trophy since 2017 and made a clear statement to the rest of the league. This organization isn't just about talent. They're about building it the right way, developing it, coaching it up, and executing when it matters most. And let's talk about that turnaround on defense. Early in the 2024 season, things weren't pretty. The unit looked disjointed, inconsistent, but after the Week 5 bye, boom, the light flipped on. Kobe Dean was inserted as a starter and everything changed. Suddenly this defense went from shaky to suffocating. By the time they reached the Super Bowl, they weren't just good, they were dominant. They confused and shut down Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, a nearly impossible task. It wasn't just a win, it was a defensive masterclass. Now coming into 2025, yeah, this defense looks different. You've got guys like Darius Slay and C.J. Gardner-Johnson no longer on the roster. Those are big names, proven leaders, but here's the key difference, and it's a big one. While the offense had some coaching turnover, losing Kellen Moore and bringing in a new coordinator, the defensive coaching staff remains intact. That kind of continuity is gold in the NFL. Vic Fangio is still running the show, and that familiarity with his system that's going to pay massive dividends. Think about it. In a league where coaching turnover is constant and schemes are always changing, the fact that these young defenders get to spend another full offseason learning and executing under Fangio is a game changer. No new terminology, no new playbooks, just refinement, reps, and building chemistry. That's why first-team All-Pro linebacker Zach Bond said on a recent podcast that he feels this 2025 Eagles defense is already miles ahead of where they were at this same point last year. That's not just optimism, that's a warning shot to the rest of the league. Even with some questions still floating around like who's going to start next to Jalen Carter at defensive tackle, will it be Jordan Davis, Moro Ojomo, who lines up opposite rookie sensation Quinyon Mitchell at outside corner? Is it Kelly Ringo, veteran Eddery Jackson? And what about the other safety spot next to Reed Blankenship, Andrew Mukuba, Sidney Brown, someone else entirely? There's so much talent in this unit that it's not about plugging holes, it's about deciding which high potential player gets the shot. It's a different story on offense, where 10 of 11 starters return from last year's Super Bowl winning squad. But make no mistake, the respect this Eagles defense commands around the league is very real. Just look at what Pro Football Focus had to say. In their latest ranking of the top 10 defensive lines in football, the Eagles came in at number 2, trailing only the Pittsburgh Steelers. Think about that. Even after losing Josh Sweat and Milton Williams in free agency, Phillies the line is still seen as elite, and the numbers back it up. In 2024, the Eagles generated pressure on 36% of their non-blitz snaps, the 5th highest rate in the league. Jalen Carter earned an 84-point pass rush grade from PFF, good for 4th. Among interior linemen, Moro Ojomo wasn't far behind at 80-point for ranking 6th. These aren't just flashes. These are guys consistently beating their matchups and disrupting plays. You lose Josh Sweat, that's tough, no doubt. But the Eagles respond by elevating Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, bringing in Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uch, and drafting Antoine Pollard. Same thing on the interior, you lose Milton Williams, but you replace him with Ojomo and add Ty Robinson, a promising rookie. And here's what's really wild, the Eagles now have the youngest starting defensive line in the entire NFL. Jordan Davis is just 25, under contract for 2 more years. Jalen Carter is 24 heading into year 3. Nolan Smith, Alex Hunt both 24 as well. Oyomo's 23. Robinson the rookie is 24. These guys aren't just talented, they're babies in football years. They're just getting started. And under Fangio, their ceiling is terrifyingly high. We're not done yet. Let's talk linebackers. PFF recently ranked the Eagles linebacker group as the best in the league. That's right, number 1, ahead of the Lions, Patriots, Chiefs, and Commanders. And while the Commanders at 5 might raise some eyebrows, Philly at 1 feels earned. Zach Bond led all linebackers in PFF grade last season with a 90.2. Nakobe Dean wasn't far behind, ranking 11th with a 77.4 grade. Then you add Jihad Campbell, one of the top linebackers from the 2025 draft class, as insurance for Dean. Add in young depth with Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Smile Mondin, and suddenly you've got a unit that's not just solid, it's deep, athletic, and smart. And here's something that Eagles fans have been waiting a long time to hear. After years of treating the linebacker position like an afterthought, General Manager Howie Roseman has flipped the script. He's investing in linebackers both financially and in terms of draft capital. Why? Because modern offenses are fast, creative, and constantly looking to exploit mismatches in space. If you don't have linebackers who can cover, tackle, and diagnose plays on the fly, you're toast. The Eagles get it now, and they've got the personnel to back it up. Now let's not ignore the secondary. There are still some question marks, especially at safety and that second outside corner spot, but there's also serious promise. Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, both rookies last year, graded out as the top 2 corners in man coverage according to PFF. That's insane. If those to continue to develop, they could anchor this secondary for years to come. Sure, there will be growing pains, but with a dominant front 7 in front of them, those young corners won't be asked to cover for 6 or 7 seconds. They'll get help and they'll have chances to make plays. And maybe, just maybe, the defense can buy the offense some time early in the year. With Kevin Patullo stepping in as the new offensive coordinator, there could be some initial bumps as the unit finds its rhythm. But if the defense holds strong and gives them breathing room by midseason, this Eagles team could be humming on both sides of the ball. In 2024, the Eagles finished as the number 1 overall defense in the NFL. Where will they rank in 2025? That's the big question. But one thing's for sure, this team is loaded, dangerous, and more motivated than ever to run it back and make history. And as the countdown to kickoff inches closer, the Philadelphia Eagles aren't just preparing to defend their title, they're gearing up to make a statement. You can feel it in the building, in the way players talk about practice, in the tone from the coaching staff, and in how this team carries itself. There's an edge of fire, a quiet confidence rooted not in hope, but in experience and preparation. Because when you've already climbed the mountain and you know what it takes to get back, everything changes. The work hits harder, the reps matter more, and the belief, it's unshakable. This defense under Vic Fangio has matured in a way that few expected this quickly. You're talking about one of the youngest starting units in the NFL, but their IQ, their communication, their cohesion, it's on a veteran level. That doesn't just happen. That's a testament to coaching, to leadership in the locker room, and to the buy-in from every single player on the depth chart. From top draft picks to undrafted free agents, everyone is locked in. And that's dangerous for the rest of the league. What's even more impressive is the versatility this group brings to the table. Jalen Carter isn't just a force on the interior, he's disruptive in every situation. First down, third down, short yardage, long yardage, it doesn't matter. He's collapsing pockets, blowing up run lanes, and drawing double teams on nearly every snap. And that opens the door for guys like Nolan Smith and Alex Hunt to feast off the edge. Nolan's get off is elite, his bend around the corner is filthy, and he's developed a bull rush that's quickly becoming a nightmare for offensive tackles. Hunt, on the other hand, is a high-motor machine. He doesn't quit on plays, and he's constantly finding ways to get in the quarterback's face. Then you've got someone like Moro Oyomo, who has gone from rotational piece to legitimate starter. His hand placement, his leverage, and his strength at the point of attack have all taken huge leaps. And now with the addition of Ty Robinson, a powerful and explosive rookie with the potential to make an impact from day one, this defensive front is deeper and more dangerous than ever. They're not just trying to get sacks, they're trying to ruin drives. And speaking of drive killers, the linebacker corps is absolutely stacked. Zach Bond is playing the best football of his career. He's diagnosing plays faster, he's more decisive, and his closing speed is just absurd. His ability to cover ground from sideline to sideline makes him invaluable in both run support and pass coverage. Kobe Dean, assuming he returns to full health, brings that same range and instincts, but with an even nastier attitude. He's a thumper, he sets the tone. And together they give Philly arguably the best linebacker duo in football, but it doesn't stop there. The Eagles knew that health and depth are everything in this league, so they didn't hesitate to add reinforcements. Jihad Campbell, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and Smile Mondon aren't just backups, they're future starters. All three bring a different flavor to the table. Campbell is rangy and fluid in coverage. Trotter has that downhill physical style that fits perfectly in short yardage situations. And Mondon, he's raw, but his athleticism jumps off the screen. You can't teach his speed, his burst, his length. These are guys that can step in at any moment and keep the standard high. Now let's address the biggest question mark on this defense, the secondary. Yet there are unknowns. There's no sugarcoating that, but there's also potential through the roof. Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean were revelations last year. As rookies, they didn't just survive, they excelled. Mitchell's footwork, his hip fluidity, his anticipation, he already looks like a future All-Pro, and DeJean's versatility, it's unmatched. He can play outside, he can move into the slot, he can match up with tight ends and running backs. He's physical, smart, and unafraid of the moment. The challenge now is finding out who completes the puzzle. Will Kelly Ringo step up on the outside? Can Adoree Jackson bring that veteran presence and reliability? What happens at safety, where Reed Blankenship is locked in as a starter, but the spot next to him is wide open? Andrew Mukuba has shown flashes. He's rangy, he's aggressive, and he's not afraid to hit. Sidney Brown is more of a downhill enforcer, a guy who brings energy and intimidation. It's going to come down to who grasps the system better, who communicates more effectively, and who earns the trust of the staff during camp. And you know what, that's not a bad problem to have. Because the front seven is so dominant, the secondary doesn't need to be perfect. They just need to be good. They need to be disciplined, they need to tackle well, and they need to avoid giving up the big play. If they can do that, this defense can easily be #1 in the league again. That's the kind of pressure the front applies. That's the kind of advantage a stacked linebacker unit gives you. On paper, this team is terrifying. But it's not just about the roster, it's about the mindset. These guys aren't satisfied. They're not reading their press clippings or coasting on last year's success. They know that every team is coming for them now. They're the hunted. They've got the target on their back. And instead of running from it, they're embracing it. They want the smoke. They want the big moments. They want to prove that last year wasn't a fluke, it was the beginning of something special. You can feel that energy in the way they practice, in the way they talk to the media, in the way they push each other in the weight room and in film study. This is a group that's obsessed with the details. They talk about pad level eye discipline, route recognition, all the little things that separate good from great. And with a full off-season under Fangio, you can already see the difference. The calls are coming in faster, the disguises are more complex, the execution is cleaner. This isn't a group learning the system anymore, they're mastering it, and that's what should scare the rest of the league. Because if the Eagles were that dominant last year, while still figuring things out, what happens now that they've got everything dialed? And what happens when these young stars take the next step? What happens when the chemistry clicks, the rotations tighten, and the communication becomes second nature? That's when dynasties are born. And let's be honest, this has all the makings of one, a franchise quarterback in his prime, an offensive core that returns nearly intact, a defense that's young, hungry, and already elite, a front office that knows how to build and sustain success, and a coaching staff that's proven it can adapt, develop, and win on the biggest stage. The road won't be easy. The NFC is loaded. Injuries will happen. There will be adversity. But if this team stays healthy, if they keep that same fire and focus, if the defense continues to grow and gel, there's no reason to believe the Eagles can't make another deep playoff run. Not just this year, but for years to come, because this isn't just about defending a title. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below, and a move that's already stirring serious chatter across the NFL landscape. Whispers are growing louder that veteran tight end Zach Ertz might be making a sensational return to the Philadelphia Eagles. While no official statement has been made by the team or the player, insiders close to the situation hint that an agreement may be closer than fans think. The possibility has set social media abuzz and reawakened memories of Ertz's iconic tenure in Philly. After all, this is the same player who helped lift the franchise to its first Super Bowl title in 2017, famously catching the go-ahead touchdown in that unforgettable victory over the Patriots. A return to the city of brotherly love would be nothing short of poetic. fueling speculation. Sources have reported that ERTZ was recently spotted near the Eagles' training facility, and some players have allegedly dropped subtle hints on their own social media accounts. While the franchise remains officially tight-lipped, the locker room buzz seems allowed to ignore ERTZ, now a free agent after a stint with the Arizona Cardinals and a brief stop in Detroit, has made no secret of his desire to keep playing, preferably in a system and city he knows well. At 33, he's not the player he once was, but his leadership experience and red zone savvy could provide the Eagles with exactly the kind of depth they need at tight end, especially behind Dallas Goedert. Could this be a classic reunion story in the making, or is it just smoke with no fire? Time will tell. But for now, Eagles fans can dare to dream of no 86 running out of the tunnel at Lincoln Financial Field one more time. If the rumor proves true, it could be the emotional and strategic boost Philadelphia needs heading into a crucial stretch of the season. Stay tuned. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.